Hi everyone, this is Sunette here for Soul, continuing our process of defining, redefining, and living the word fun. So in this video, we're going to be focusing on why it is important to, within the defining and purifying process, to be specific in relation to writing down and looking at both the good and the bad connotations that you may have in relation to the word fun. It was interesting as well with having a look at my process with words. We sometimes tend to, on a level within ourselves, think that good positive words only have good positive connotations to them, inside ourselves, or good positive definitions. And I remember there was once where I was working with a word, gentleness, and as I was writing out my current definition, of the word gentleness, I deliberately suppressed any and all bad memories that I had in relation to the word, because there were quite a few that came up together with the good memories or good connotations and references and ideas and things like that. But then I sat back and I'm like, but wait a minute, I'm in the process of defining this word as it exists in me, absolutely, as is, completely, purely looking at everything and anything that's coming up within me in relation to this word gentleness. Why am I denying even, yes, the bad things, the negatives, the not so good, that is also equally coming up inside of me? And that's where I realized it was because of a perception that existed inside of me that a positive word only has positive connotations, connections, references inside myself. The bad things that come up inside of me just shouldn't be looked at, because it doesn't actually belong in this good positive word. But the fact is that it does. Inside of me, the word gentleness had both good and bad references, connections, and connotations. So this is a slight point that we all, to a certain extent or degree, need to work through, this perception of good positive words only having good positive connections, connotations, references, inside ourselves. So to have a look at the word fun, for example, when, for most of us, when we even just hear the word fun or read it or write it, we have this rising movement within ourselves. Well, that's for me personally. Even now, speaking the word, I kind of already have a smile on my face. And this movement, this natural expression that comes up within me, when speaking the word fun, obviously here being a process that I've walked to assist and support myself in getting to that point where when I speak a word, and this is most words that I've been walking the defining, redefining, and living process with, where you access your natural, it's like an expression that comes up within you, but it's not, for example, like an energy movement that you just feel in your solar plexus area, or just a fleeting moment of energy that fountains out, or like a firework that comes up and explodes for a moment, the good energies that feel that way. It's more when you walk the process of defining, redefining, and living a word, that in the living process, this expression within you comes through, comes up, and almost lives within yourself, within your body. You have this overall sensation within yourself and your body when you speak a word or live it and express it. So that part of this process we'll get into when we come to the redefining and living of the word fun, to understand what is the difference between accessing a word with emotions and feelings and actually living a word as an expression of yourself, right? But for now, let's focus on our defining and purifying of the word fun. So here as well, there's, for example, what also came up within me that was not such great memories. They were in themselves great, but the memories did remind me of someone who I'd lost, a couple of years ago, who passed. And, with that individual, I had quite a few memories that I would define as fun, but together with the fun within those memories was also an overwhelming sadness, a missing, a sorrow. It's like there's a fleeting moment of a smile, wanting to come through within myself when reflecting on those memories with this individual. But after that fleeting moment, the sadness, sorrow, the missing, the realization of I'm never going to have that with them again, superseded the memory of that moment. So this is also an example of where sometimes you're going to have memories of fun, but at the same time, it's like the emotional, the bad, the negative within those memories can supersede that definition of fun that you had. So these are also the memories or the moments and definitions that you can have a look at writing down. You want to absolutely clearly see for yourself, who am I as this word fun? The good and the bad. May even be practical to, for example, do it on one piece of paper where you have the good and the bad. Or even sometimes I've noticed I've looked at memories of where, some of my friends were speaking about a fun experience that they had. So I wasn't necessarily there, but for a moment kind of, vicariously experienced their fun experience through their words and as they were sharing and talking. Like, for example, roller coaster rides. At that time, I'd never been on one of them before. And just like how they were speaking and sharing about their experience, that sounded fun to me. So also, with having a look at defining words and defining yourself within that, you'll see sometimes it's not necessarily good memories or bad memories. There's sometimes just pure memories or references or connotations that come up inside of you that doesn't necessarily have a good or bad value to it. Just, is what it is. Yes, there with my friend sharing, I could say that I would list it in like the good side and as a good memory. But at the same time, in remembering that memory, there's not so much really an experience coming up inside of me. It's just an interesting remembrance of listening to their stories and thinking that roller coaster rides would be fun. So you can also create a section for yourself, neutral, just neutral memories that do not have an intense bad or good, energy charge to it. It was just almost like a reminder or a reference of what the word fun means. Okay, so now that we're here within the definition process of the word fun, to also have a look at that there may be some individuals who, most of us would imagine that the word fun must have mostly, good memories or references and connotations to it, like very positive, happy, excited, jubilant, free, expressive, overwhelming. And that in itself, is also a perception, that we create, because we oftentimes look at words and other people within that through our own references, through our own opinions and point of views and experiences when it comes to a word. And it's been also quite fascinating, when walking this process of defining words and seeing who you are within and as words, that you'll come to assist and support yourself to be more humble and understanding with other people and their relationships and definitions to words and with words, and how the words define them as much as they define themselves through the words. So in other words, again, also referencing throughout my years where I met an individual, and this is also interesting. What I enjoy about this process is, with having walked through defining, redefining, and living the word fun, I could go back in my life and just, see for myself how much I misunderstood people, because I looked at them through a very one-dimensional tunnel vision view inside myself. Like, for example, there was an individual I met who was an introvert, shy, isolated, and I mean, at that time, I was, in my late teens, and fun for me was, like dancing and going out and, spending time with friends and having sleepovers, and it was very much friends based and socializing and doing things together. And I met this individual, and he was very, as I said, the complete opposite to what I was. And I just one day sat down with him and I said, "What do you do for fun?" And it was interesting because and obviously, I mean, back then I was not using it as an excuse, but I was quite young and very much stuck in that mindset or mind frame of fun is socializing, lots of friends, doing things together. And if you don't do that, then you're just weird. So he said to me, I'm content with myself. I do not need fun, nor do I want fun. I mean, for you, fun is doing what you do. But for me, fun is not so much a part of myself and my life. I mean, I am here, I do what I do, I enjoy myself, I love what I do. What more do I actually need or want? So then I remember, walking away from the conversation thinking that, yes, he was a bit different or just weird. How can he not have fun in himself and his life? Almost in a way having the conversation where I wanted to try and save him, in terms of I would every now and then ask him to come out, come and join us, come and have some fun. Like I was trying to pull him into my world, my definition, my reality of fun, when all the while really it should have been in reverse, in the sense that if I had the awareness I had now back then, I would have looked at who he is within the word fun. It's not even necessarily that the word fun didn't exist in him or wasn't a part of his vocabulary or his living. It was just defined in a completely different way. And it was actually a very interesting statement that he made, in terms of he didn't need it or want it. He was very content within who he was. I mean, yes, he would have, looking at the dimension of the process he may have walked in his life, if he defined, redefined, and lived fun in expanding himself within a word. But I'm sharing this story to also assist and support you to have a look at how many moments in conversations with other people, do they use particular words, and for you, the definition of that word may be different than theirs. And that can sometimes create like a judgment or a reaction or a resistance or an attraction. So what I have enjoyed about this defining process in getting to know who I am within a word is that it assisted and supported me to get to know other people within and as words as well. But not only that, to also see what I can learn from them and through them. But more importantly, the process that we're getting to, which is something that I very seldom have heard people even state or share or open up, which is, who am I as the word fun for me, just me in my relationship with myself. Again, as I've explained, all my previous definitions was memories, friends, doing things, experiencing, feeling, things like that. I did not have any reference within myself of the word fun with my relationship with me and who I am alone with myself in expressing myself in certain ways or moments or situations. All right. So this is also why I'm sharing that, we have to look at both the good, the bad, and the neutral within ourselves when it comes to words. So to take with you for this video is to watch out to not deny or suppress or limit things that come up within you that are connected to a word, like, for example, fun. So I'd like everyone to start with this for this video, walk through the good, the bad, the neutral. And then for those of you, this is also, I have met people who, the word fun just didn't exist in them at all, in no way whatsoever. If anything, the moment they hear or see or read or write the word fun, it's like it completely bounces back, onto them in a way where what instead comes up inside of them is sadness, sorrow, depression, pain, trauma. It's like, the word fun just, they couldn't relate to even an experience or a movement within them in relation to that word at all. So this may also be something that many of you have faced within your life when it had come to speaking, let's say, good or positive words, but the person who you're communicating with or interacting with or is with you, just the word just doesn't exist in them at all. It actually creates the opposite of the meaning or the experience of that word and what the meaning and the experience is for you personally. So we're going to also be expanding this process of utilizing our relationship with words to actually get to know people as we are walking the process of getting to know ourselves as the word. And, with individuals or those of you who cannot at this stage, you do not have any good, positive, great reference in relation to the word fun existing within you, that's not a bad thing. This process is simply about your honesty. How is that word existing within you? What effect does it have on you? Who am I right here, right now as this word? And if there is only bad or negative or depressing things that's coming up inside of you when reading, writing, or speaking a word, then write it out. Put it out there. See it in front of you. Because this is going to be the first step where we're going to, from here, be purifying the words and the word fun that we're busy walking now to, from there, redefine and live it. We've got to realize that right here, right now, yes, the word may be existing in so many polarities, like good or negative or neutral. But if you have a look at all the information that you'll write down, again, nowhere in all of those references is there anything showing the question that you've ever asked yourself, but who am I as this word? How would I like to live this word and embody this word and express this word in a way that'll assist and support me as well as others in my life and just my everyday life journey and process. And even for myself, like, there's been so many times in my life as well where I was trying to create this idea that I had about the word fun. And I'm sure many of you can possibly relate to this. Let's look at it from the perspective that, this word for you had more positive or good connotations and references. And it's like your definition of the word fun may have been limited in like only having fun when you're with friends, socializing, doing certain specific things. And then it's like it becomes this chase where you always have to be socializing, be with friends, and you've got all the expectations and things coming up, and then it doesn't always turn out quite like you expected or anticipated. So within this expectation and anticipation, also, then you can go into an experience of a disappointment, and it wasn't fun or as fun as you wanted it to be. And then again comes the chase, because you're always trying to chase that experience of fun, to have that experience, because it's dependent on so many other things and people. And that's also a mistake that I've often made where, I defined fun as socializing, being with friends, and it doesn't turn out the way I expected or anticipated in my mind. And to the point where I was so disappointed that I just never wanted to go to that certain place again, or go with those certain people, or on that day, and things like that. That's being one example of where, a definition of a word, if it is so limited and one-dimensional within you, can actually create unnecessary experiences of ups and downs within yourself, your relationship with other people, things that you do. And then for those of you who have the pure negative or bad connotations and references to the word fun, you've got to consider that, again, you're equally as much limiting yourself, because you yourself have also not asked, but who am I as this word? How would I like to create myself as this word? My living experience, my life experience. Just see how I can change, even in basic, simple moments in my everyday life, by living and embodying this word and adding it into myself, my everyday life. So we're now again as well focusing on what it really means to create yourself. But to be able to create ourselves, we do need to understand what has been creating us, what has been defining us, what has been, to a certain extent, controlling and limiting our potential to create ourselves, which has been all this information that will come out from you if you sit down and write and ask yourself, who am I, as the word fun. All right, so here, lay it out there, put it in front of you, place, it's almost like a blueprint that you'll see of, okay, this is fascinating. I've got all this information in relation to the word fun. In the next video, we will continue with purifying. What does it mean to purify? How can you practically walk this process of purifying the word fun inside yourself, so that you can create that necessary blank slate for you inside yourself, in a way where, in the redefining and living process, you can start creating the you within the word fun that you'd like to live and embody and express and add into yourself, your everyday life, and your relationships within that. All right, everyone, thank you so much for walking with. Looking forward to our process of self-creation through words. Thank you very much.